They can do whatever they want, wherever they want. I just want to go to bed.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I'm Ramona Ramirez. Hi.
Hi, friend. We just had a long talk about anxiety and sleep deprivation, and now we're trying to pretend like we're all like centered and welcome, and it's like...
And no matter what I've done in the last couple of weeks to try to sound quote unquote normal when we do the introduction, like I sound like I'm clearly I'm not fooling you.
I'm not fooling. I'm laughing at myself because I'm dying because I'm speaking slowly like, hello, welcome to A Therapeutic Dose. But if you could hear the 15 times monologue going through my head as each single word comes out, there's a whole one-act play going on for every word that's exiting my mouth. My brain is so overactive. I don't know what is going on right now, but it's going to work up there.
It's going to work.
And it's nothing interesting or valuable. It's all just chatter.
Oh, yeah.
But again, this is what initially brought me to reality TV. Like reality TV, I always told people weed never did anything to me. It made me paranoid and antisocial. And I tried to explain to people like reality TV does for me what weed does for you. Like I watch you settle in and get comfortable and just relax into your body and your life. And like initially that reality TV just turned that frantic monologue into a low hum. And I have been forever grateful for the medium ever since.
I was just going to say the same thing. I've been looking for other things to identify what's been going on, but you confirmed my suspicions. Like, yes, it's anxiety. It's anxiety. And I'm completely sleep deprived right now. My brain is never not going. When it's going, it's not being the nicest of all fucking friends to me at all. And watching Summer House last night, and even again while I was taking notes earlier today, this show, this season just came at the perfect time. And I don't regret that we covered the whole Beverly Hills. Like, that needed to be discussed. It needed to be watched. It needed to be discussed. And I'm really glad, again, that you lovingly suggested that we not do the Valley and do this instead, because there's plenty to talk about. It's fun and light. Not light, but
it is. It
palatable.
Feels like summer. It's summer.
It does.
I love an East Coast summer, and it really just gives me that feeling of like humid, long nights. And I don't know. I can't take anything too seriously in a humid East Coast summer because the heat just slows you down out there. At least that was my experience. So I was never really all that mad in the summer because I was just too sweaty to be bothered. But out here, it's been cold and gray. So my brain is just like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. This is Summer House, Season 9, Episode 13, Changing Tides.
I like it.
I do too.
I like it.
Yeah.
Coastal theme.
Very.
We start with Paige and Lindsay arriving at the house. And Lindsay reports that she checked in with Lexi this week. And Lexi had reported she was bummed and sad about Jesse and that they had conversations, but he didn't really offer to like talk with her. Everybody's stories sound all different. This is just the most, everyone's communication fails when it comes to Jesse and Lexi. Most of all, Jesse and Lexi. Most of all, Jesse.
Has anyone on any other podcast called them Lessie?
No, but that works.
I feel like I'm going to refer to them as that. I have had no time this week, nor has my anxiety. Usually podcasts can, well, no, that's not true. I've been listening to another reality show franchise, a non-Bravo reality show. I'll talk about that when we talk about what did you watch this week. But I'm listening to those recaps, so I haven't listened. Miss ADHD, Miss Adult Child of an Alcoholic, needs to over-explain that if any other podcaster, if any other Bravo podcaster has used the term Lessie to refer to Jesse and Lexi, I am not poaching. I'm not copying. I just was writing my notes, and that's what came up.
I mean, great news. It'll be
Codependent.
valid for like one more week, and then it's dead anyway, so fine.
Jesus Christ. So, yeah. So Jesse and Lexi arrive together, and Lindsay and Paige are shocked. They're fake shocked. I don't want to veer into misogynist territory, and I don't think I am, but I am also hyper aware of how society does that. I am not trying to single out Lindsay Hubbard because of her gender. I am singling out Lindsay Hubbard because I can't stand her brand of personality. Where like, oh, like when Jesse and Lexi walk in, how are we doing? Oh, like, okay, technically the words coming out of her mouth, how are you doing? Those are kind words, but it's that patronizing judginess behind it that she's especially been, well, I found it particularly noticeable in these last couple of episodes. It enraged me. It enraged me last night. It enraged me last week. And she is not concerned with anybody's well-being. She's just...
Except her own.
Yes.
Look at my baby. Feel my baby. Put my
Yes.
feet up. Pregnant. Nap on the beach. Pregnant. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Oh, water broke. Pregnant. Right. She just wants the gossip and the drama to unfold all around her. You know who has a lot to say about Lindsay Hubbard? I never thought I'd see the day. Watching this episode with my husband last night, he chimes in during Beverly Hills. Maybe it's too, I don't know. Maybe I feel like he's more engaged with Summer House than with Beverly Hills, but it is more palatable. You know, maybe he found Beverly Hills too exhausting this season. But Summer House, when we watch it, I find that the phone is down less. Oh, I sounded patronizing right now. I find that the phone is down less. He's not scrolling as much while he's watching at the same time. He's more engaged. He has a lot to say about her.
Summer House and Below Deck tend to be like the male gateways because there's more of a male presence on those shows. So there's some relatable content for people who aren't just like, these women are all mean to each other. Like, you know.
That's a really good point. I never thought about that.
I think that's what most couples find the gateways are is Summer House, Southern Charm, and the Below Deck, any Below Deck. But I love hearing that. I love that he's immediately just like not having Lindsay because she is not havable. She's so obnoxious.
Yeah, and I'm checking in with him too to just like, you know, keep misogyny in check. But he is equally as annoyed with Kyle. He is like slaps his forehead, metaphorically speaking, with Jesse.
Poor Jesse. What a
you
mess.
know,
God, get it together, kid.
My point is that I really enjoy watching this show with him, and that my comments about Lindsay and my observations about Lindsay are shared with my spouse.
Yeah. I mean, however, if I had been sitting in there and the last thing I had seen was last weekend, Lindsay going like, fuck being exclusive. Put that shit out the window. I'm done. With good reason. And Jesse just looking like a tool and doing nothing to try and recover. I would have been like, you drove here together? What is actually happening? And they walked in like, hey guys. They didn't walk in going like, I know this is probably weird, but we spent the week working it out. They just came in like, I brought non-alcoholic blah, blah. It's like, you can't. What are you doing? Everyone's crazy. Everyone's nuts.
Everyone's crazy.
But Lindsay really is. You're right. And she just makes, she can't not be right. So the way she acts when they come in is like, well, what you're doing is wrong and my expectation was right. So I'm really going to make it clear that you guys are crazy and I'm the only sane one here. Thank God I'm old and sober and pregnant so I can make life make sense to all of you fools. It's just like, you don't know anything. You're a nightmare.
I can see that.
You got pregnant 20 minutes after your engagement broke up. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
Oh,
And not that there's
Lindsay.
anything wrong or bad about that, but it's just like if you have all the answers, your formula's real weird, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Just live and let live.
Lexi can see the shock on her castmates' faces and, answers Lindsay's passive aggressive way of saying, oh, okay. And she explains that they had lots of hours and hours of conversations this week. I can understand the shock of seeing them arrive together, but also at the same time, no, yeah, you're right. I can understand. I was projecting my lack of shock onto the castmates but they weren't there. They didn't see the scene where Jesse came over to Lexi's to, have a quasi breakdown of what they were going to do.
But I didn't leave that scene. I didn't think they would be together.
Oh,
When
I
they showed
did.
up together, I was like, say what now?
I did.
Because the last thing we heard her say was maybe we're just not compatible. And I was like, yeah, well, you're definitely not. And that's obvious to everyone. Oh, they're here together.
Yeah, but she seemed like she was saying the words, but to me, her energy did not match it at all. Her energy was like she wasn't done and he wasn't done. And I think she was gauging it to see if he wasn't done. I don't know, maybe not. I was asking myself today, has anyone ever had a clean breakup where you're just like, bye, bye? Especially if there's still chemistry there, like where there's not like a...
And if you have to live under the same roof, it's so much harder to avoid each other and feel bad than it is just to do 2 more weekends of whatever this bullshit is. Just lean in and then let it go. I don't blame them for making, Lexi in particular, I do not blame her for making that choice of it's just the path of least resistance to enjoy a couple more weekends with this tool and then reevaluate once.
And she said as much last night. She was on Watch What Happens Live. And she said that at this point, at the weekend that we just watched, which is the second to the last weekend, I guess.
Yes, because Ciara said she has just enough patience for one more weekend of these idiots.
But they didn't, when they said that next week on Summer House, they didn't say on the season finale of. So do we have 2 more episodes before the reunion start?
Oh, I don't know.
Or is it the season finale? I don't know. They just didn't say it. They didn't say on the season finale. Who fucking cares? My point is, when she was on Watch What Happens Live, she said she had the energy to finish out the season with Jesse, and she felt like that would be easier. So
I think she's right. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad move. Yeah. And then Paige has a little confessional where she says they're being weird. They're weird together. And it's that's true. And then Lindsay's confessional, this is what I can't stand about her. She goes, I'm more confused every time I help them. And I was like, well, then butt out, dude. Then the message I would take from that would be ooh, my help complicates things even further. So maybe I have no business helping. Did anyone ask anyway? No. Stop.
Is the help in the room with us now, Lindsay? Because I've seen you dole out advice that nobody is asking for. But also, I don't know does she think that people
are people flocking to her?
Are people seeking her out? Listen.
No.
Advice on how to be an influencer, I can see reaching out to Hub House. Fuck yeah, dude. She knows how to work that machine. As far as anything else, no. Oh, do I sound like her right now? As far as anything else, no. Ooh, do I spot it? I got it?
I don't know. Lindsay is she's such a weird one-off for me that I just
She is a one-off, right?
Just in her borderline narcissism. Yes. It's just always about her. She's we're talking about their relationship and she's talking about they confuse me every time I help. It's why are you in this sentence? Just please let anyone else have their own story.
Wow.
And then we go to Carl and West, which was a weird pairing to drive out in their car. And West reports that he went out last night with Jesse and Lexi, and Carl's like, oh, as friends? And he was like, no, they were grinding on each other in front of Lexi's mom and sister. And then is that when we get the little flashback to 2:30 in the club, and Jesse's grinding on Lexi, and there is Lexi's mom 3 feet away. All of it is just not my scene, but whatever works. West is perplexed, and Carl looks confused as well, because this is very confusing coming off of last week.
You know what confuses me more than I'm so confused. That's a kind. I'm confused by the soft bar logo on Carl's ugly ass hat. That logo, it's abysmal. It's a shocking level of terrible. I have no problem when people want to use a serif. Use a serif. But that typeface, that logo looks like they whipped it up in first generation Microsoft Word format menu. It's bad. And I'm shocked. And I'm hoping that this is not an example of the people putting up the money for this bar and Carl, like marketing and finance, they always underestimate how critical creative is. And that logo is bad. And I hope, listen, my husband is one of the best of a designer. And when I saw that logo, we were watching last night, I'm all, babe. He's like, oh, yeah. And I just, you know how Erica Jane says that she was practically a lawyer? Well, I'm practically a designer because of what I've learned from Josh. And I just really hope that, I don't know, it bothers me. And I think that Carl could have done a lot better. And I just hope that the logo alone isn't a harbinger for how this business is going to go, because it was not thought. It is, Margie. It's like.
Wait, but I thought it was clever. Am I stupid? Because it looks like it says soft, and then the T is the bar, and then it says bar, right? I thought it, but I guess to me, I don't know.
I thought
First
it just
of all,
said soft bar, but like there's no space in between the lowercase t and the uppercase b.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I just find, to be honest, my aesthetic taste, I cannot, to me, the Loverboy logo makes me want to fucking talk about like inciting my anxiety. That thing is just like cursive and loud. And I'm just like, I can't. I'd so much rather have soft bar. So much rather have soft bar. It's clean and it's simple and like I can get on board. But I don't know anything about design, so I am not the person to ask. And it's not a great sign that neither one of us can exactly remember what it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least with Loverboy, it's like I can picture it exactly. The capital L and the lowercase OV, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
The whole thing is, it lives in my nightmares, but it lives in full, vivid, specific reality.
Oh, God.
So,
It's
good
just
for them.
bad beige hat with the bad serify typeface. And I just, anyway, no one called to hear about my opinion on Carl's logo for his bar.
I mean, I feel like he probably got several different options, and I imagine he chose that one because it's like plain beige. It's soft bar. Do you know what I mean? It's like he may have made a misguided choice as CEO of Soft Bar.
Using a first generation Microsoft Word format menu.
Or choosing
typeface
that
options.
from the options that were presented to him. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
I'm sure
go
there were like 10 or more options. And he was like, that's the one. And they were like, are you sure?
Oh, God. Well, I'm not sure. But there's time for rebranding before he opens it up. Anyway, movingon.org. Amanda, Ciara, and Kyle are on the way. And Amanda says that she saw Lexi and that she informs Ciara and Kyle that Lexi's giving Jesse a second chance. And I appreciated that Amanda conceded immediately. And she said, listen, I've given Kyle more chances than he deserved. And I liked that Kyle was all, oh, but he didn't like, he was vocal, but he wasn't like, what's he going to say? We all saw it. Anyway, I appreciate that she was frank about it. She's not rewriting their history.
Yeah, and Kyle, reports that Jesse has portrayed the relationship to the boys as pretty fucking fraught. So like everyone's a little unclear how this is the case, that Lexi is giving him a chance. And Ciara asks Kyle about the guys' dinner. Kyle says the conversation that night was mostly about Ciara and how Ciara and Jesse were beefing after the arm touch heard round the world. And I love Amanda for jumping on it immediately. And I appreciated her irritated tone when she said that's because Lexi got upset about all of Jesse's flirtatious behavior with Ciara. And now Jesse is passing the buck by placing blame on Ciara. This is Jesse's problem. It is not about Ciara. And I loved her for having so much clarity and just nailing it in the moment.
Absolutely. I feel like everybody got what should have been Jesse's portion of being able to get it. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's clearly nothing yet.
No, he is
Nothing
so
else. He
I've
never seen anything like
It's
it.
shocking, truly. And
It's
even in his
shocking.
confessionals where he's had distance and time from the experience, he's still like, he seems crazy. Like it just seems completely irrational how he has framed all of this for him to be victimized. It's nuts. It's nuts.
I've never seen anything like it.
It's really,
Never.
it's quite something.
Yeah.
Which leads me to love Amanda and Ciara even more when they enter the house and Jesse goes, "Hey." And Amanda and Ciara completely ignore him. Don't look at him. Don't respond to him. And he just slides his stupid sunglasses on. And I was like, good. Have some discomfort, you dope. And then Carl and West arrive and Kyle goes to take the call from his sperm doctor. And we find out that he had the choice between email and a phone call. So not to be rude, Kyle, but like, I don't believe you when you say you're nervous about the results, because any doctor, if it's a bad result, you don't get the option of email. They're not going to
True.
like, okay, sir, you're fine. All right. But he does mention in his confessional that he is concerned that Amanda may no longer want to have kids. And that is something he has not anticipated. And that could be a legitimate pressing problem down the line.
Could be, but I kind of doubt it.
I kind of doubt it too. But
yeah.
but I believed him. Like he looked genuinely kind of taken aback when they were having their lunch at the end of the last episode when she was like, "It wouldn't be the end of the world if you're sterile." And he was like, "Wait, what?"
Which again, I feel like if he had been paying attention, this would not be a shock to him. But
in fairness, remember last season she was taking fertility tests and that's when
Right.
she discovered something was wrong. Like she was pushing for the move to New Jersey for kids because she couldn't picture them riding tricycles in New York City streets. Like, but that's just, to me, it's evidence of how mentally unstable she was. Like her brain was betraying her. So she was trying to soothe it with thoughts and plans. But when I'm chemically unbalanced, the thoughts and plans I make are not the best for anyone.
all
you
right,
know?
that's true. That's
And now
true.
she seems fully like she's got her prescriptions just right and she's feeling good. And like, yeah, she talks about it later, but it just doesn't feel like the time to fuck with that when she's like happy,
Yeah.
legitimately, truly feeling happy. Then Carl, sweet Carl, asks Lexi
Sweet
how
Carl.
she's doing. He's so thoughtful.
He's so thoughtful.
And he says he's rooting for her and Jesse, and he relates to how hard it can be to date under that roof. And then sweet Carl asks, how's he doing? You know, he's such a thorough, thoughtful man. And Lexi says that they've talked it out and got down to the nitty gritty of what's going on, which again is vague. And I don't know what the nitty gritty is, except that Jesse's a moron. So
Jesse just is going to say, yes, dear, no, dear, yes, dear, no, dear. But then behind closed doors,
do
go,
whatever he
I
wants.
don't know. I don't know what I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. So yeah, the group asks Jesse for his take on how he and Lexi worked it out. And he said, well, poor communication on my part. Jesus
He
Christ.
says my communication with Lexi was poor. And he says that in front of Ciara, whose communication with her, while he thinks it was so innocent, it read to the entire party that they were going to fuck that night. So maybe your communication, not just with Lexi, is a little bit skewed, sir. That was so lame. And I loved her for calling him right out and going like, oh, so you're not two-faced? You're not a liar. You're not two-faced. Is that the takeaway? And then he sighs and he goes, what are you trying to say? And she's like, I'm just wondering. And he goes, yeah, I could definitely improve. And she goes, sick. I
And
love
then in his
Ciara.
confessional, he's like, oh, Ciara is not someone you want to dislike you. It's pretty brutal. Now I know how Wes feels. And I'm like, dude, what you need to be saying is, oh, Ciara isn't a friend that I should be treating this shitty. I'm making lazy choices, and I feel terribly that I hurt such a quality friend who has been there for me in an authentic and genuine way. And I'm really uncomfortable with how badly I made her feel, and it's not her responsibility to remedy my discomfort. Now's the time for me to show her that I hear her by changing my actions and being mindful of how I can move forward in a respectful way. But instead, now I know how West feels.
Which is like a victim. So now they
Fucking
both feel
A.
like victims
Yeah.
of Ciara, who's just she doesn't dislike him. She's just having feelings. I hate when I have a response or a reaction that isn't perfectly pleasant and it's categorized as you hate me. You're mean. It's like none of that is true. There's a situation going on that I'm uncomfortable with. And that doesn't mean I'm anything except uncomfortable with this situation. Talk about lazy and just zero accountability on his part. Can you imagine why she might dislike you right now, Jessie?
Yeah.
What you said to her last week was, out of pity, I told Ciara that I would have fucked her if I'd gotten there first. What are you fucking talking about, dude? You're so lame.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. All right, so Kyle comes out to report his sperm is fine. And then in his confessional, he says he's sad because Amanda's response is lackluster. He'd like more attention and affection from her. And when I'm ready for kids, she might not be. I never saw that coming. And I know we just talked about this, but I was like, no shit, you never saw that coming because you only think about yourself.
And also, I'm not completely convinced that Kyle's ready to be a dad right now. Because he did say, when I'm ready, she might not be. And I'm like, well, you're not ready. So this isn't really even relevant right now.
Dude, also, yeah, stop waking your fucking wife up at 4 o'clock in the morning with your pitifuls. I love you. I love you, Amanda. Oh, he's so gross.
And then we go outside where Jessie, Carl, and Kyle are talking about your favorite soft bar. And Carl is taking a very big swing. He reports he is about to sign a $10,000 a month, 7-year lease on a warehouse space that needs $600,000 to more likely $900,000, probably $1 million worth of build out before opening. So that is months eaten out of profits right there. But I'm sure he has investors and all that. So, and then Kyle asks if Carl has, he's like, worst case scenario, how do you break your commercial lease? And Carl reports that there's something called the good guy clause where you can sell it and have someone take over, or he'll file for business bankruptcy, which is, again, in the restaurant industry, I think people enter into that contract knowing that that's a real possibility. So, and I appreciate him. He's like, I know it's risky, but I'm too passionate to bail on it. I have to see this through.
Yeah, agreed.
So, and he seems at peace. Like if he knows what would happen if it does, he's not like, oh, it will work. He's like, oh no, there's a good guy clause or I file for bankruptcy and it's over. So we'll see. I don't think it's a lost cause. Like, honestly, the space sounds awesome. I know exactly where it is. That's where all of the TV studios are. Like, if I was working over there and I don't want to get shit-faced on a Monday night, but I want to go hang out with my friends after work, I would totally go to Soft Bar.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super pulled by alcohol. Yeah. And
in the COVID times with 23-foot ceilings, yeah.
Yeah.
More
and
circulation, give it to me.
There's sometimes when I want to continue the evening, but I don't want to drink a drink. But going where they have soft cocktails, yeah. Non-alc space, going to a non-alc space, that sounds really appealing.
And it sounds like it's a beautiful, massive space. So I mean, 10 grand a month. Well, I guess in New York, maybe that's not that much. But anyways, Kyle asks how Carl feels about Lindsay continuing to kind of take jabs at him and his business. And Carl says, honestly, he thinks that Lindsay is not hurt, but she's still embarrassed and acting out to kind of try and make herself feel better. And I think he's probably on target.
100%.
Seems
Absolutely.
right. Because otherwise she wouldn't care. But if you have to take shots at someone who you claim not to give a shit about, you're undermining your case, ma'am.
Honestly. And then, I mean, Jessie, of all people, reminds Carl, yeah, but your breakup is still pretty recent. And I'm like, okay, broken clock, fine. I guess both things can be true. She can be embarrassed and also the breakup is recent. And Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like to me, it's Jessie like takes one to know one. Like their engagement did just break up a year ago. She's already pregnant and also still taking jabs at her ex-fiance. And meanwhile, Jessie is also on this ridiculously accelerated relationship track where they met weeks ago, have already been through hours of counseling with her family. They're both kind of in an absurdist landscape right now. So, I can always see other people's situations way more clearly than I can see my own. So maybe Jessie's just having that kind of clarity of like, yeah.
Where's Emerald? Where is
Oh,
he?
I know. He's just been rolled out. He's just gone.
Apparently, someone on Reddit said that they saw him at the bed party. So,
They're
like
just editing him out
did
like they did
editors?
those other guys.
Yeah, what was her name? Bailey at the very beginning.
Haley was there for like 2 episodes. But yeah, in seasons past, they've done this. There was some guy named like Chris and some other guy, and they were there all summer because people spotted them in the background of like party
Yeah.
scenes, but they were just edited out of
That
anything.
sucks, man.
It does.
Justice for Emerald. Anyway.
I mean, I don't think he's a match for this cast. They didn't do much to welcome him in and get to know him in a meaningful way. So
Yeah, I guess so.
it's disappointing, but maybe
It's
he'll
really
be on Winter House
disappointing.
or something, maybe he'll show up somewhere else.
Maybe. So Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, Carl asked Jesse how he's doing, and Jesse tells him, I was really committed, and out of nowhere, it just blew up. And I'm like, excuse me, out of nowhere, it just blew up?
And you were really committed? Is that why you got your toe sucked, grinded on Ciara, and
my God.
asked Craig how he keeps his dick in his pants when there's so many hot girls around? Is that what really committed looks like to you, Jesse? Oh my God.
He just he's learned nothing. Abandon hope, ye all who enter here.
But he literally has a blind spot. Like,
Completely.
I really think he cannot see it. And I wonder if watching it back on TV will do anything for him. He asked Craig at the party, how do you keep your dick in your pants when there's so many hot girls? What do you mean? You instantly fell head over heels for Lexi and you were committed from the jump and you can't believe it suddenly out of nowhere blew up. Like, he's insane.
And I'm hard. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
37 minutes.
Oh my God. And so then we get the backstory on Jesse's origin story regarding his romantic insecurities. Apparently the very first love of his life was his high school girlfriend, and his best friend ended up sleeping with her. And later on, Jesse's roommate correctly, I might add, theorized, like, hey, I wonder if this is what started your insecurities. And Jesse had the audacity to say, well, I don't think that's true, but it's a good working theory. What?
He's just, and the way he's so flippant about therapy, it's really weird to me. But I guess, again, the timeline for him it's very challenging because his first love was when he was 18 or 19 years old. Then that horrible thing happened where his best friend and his girlfriend betrayed him. Then he got cancer. And then he had 5 years of cancer and more and whatever, because he got it and then it came back, right? So he went through a bunch. And now he's in love with Lexi, which, again, the way he demonstrates that is incongruous to me. But yeah, he just can't see that. But also, it doesn't even matter what the origins of his trust and commitment issues are. Like, you're an adult now. It's sad, but deal with them. Work on them. Do something about them. Don't just go like, nah, not me. It's like, yeah, you. It's happening on TV. So.
Then we move upstairs, and Lexi, Lindsay, and Ciara are chatting in Lindsay's room. And Lindsay tells Ciara that she and Lexi were just catching up because I was very nervous Lexi and Jesse were donezo this week. Dude, you weren't nervous. You're just like nervous again about the potential of losing your source of drama and entertainment. But like, you're not legitimately nervous about shit except for your own life. I just can't. I'm having a hard time with her this season and the previous 8.
Yeah, she's a real challenge. And then Lexi again reports that she and Jesse talked all week about adjustments they need to make in their relationship. And she says she doesn't know if they'll be together forever. I think full well knowing we have 2 weeks of this left, but she's willing to let go of these prior miscommunications. And they both care about each other. So Lexi thinks it's worth training him. And I was like,
Gross, dude.
Well, but it's also just so she's 26, right? It's like that's the age where you learn that, there's no way to learn that without trying it.
Oh my God.
So she will soon learn that does not work.
Oh my God. And Ciara's face throughout is full on like surejan.gif. And then Lexi asks Ciara, how do you feel? And Lindsay loses all sense of like human decency and decorum and audibly and gleefully like hoots on bated breath waiting for Ciara's response. And I'm like, ma'am, you are on film forever doing this. It just was really, listen, I am not going to sit here and look you, one of my most cherished friends. I am not about to sit here and make eye contact with you and tell you that when I'm on the brink of hearing really potent, juicy, rich, concentrated gossip that I haven't on the inside been gleeful Lindsay. I have 100%. But have I been, well, oh no, I have. It's just been with like my friends in a pool in Palm Springs.
Yeah, and it's just like,
But not the person who's the subject of it in front of me. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference. Okay. Yes. That's what I'm trying to say.
well, and it's exactly what you're saying. It's just like this show is, everyone is just for entertainment purposes. Like Lindsay takes no one seriously except herself and her sonogram and her pregnancy and how hard stairs are for her now. That's the only thing that's serious. Everything else is like a joke. And
Oh my God.
it's a bummer because Ciara's feelings are really fucking hurt by both of those douchebags. And Lexi is, struggling too. But to Lindsay, it's just what it is to me, entertainment.
Honestly, it's like, okay, court gestures.
Yeah, let me put my feet up and you guys
Entertain
dance.
me. Come on. Ding, ding, ding. Yes.
And Ciara, I really appreciate Ciara because she starts by making it clear that her issues are with Jesse and they have nothing to do with Lexi. But she's like, I think Jesse is being fake and two-faced and he's talking shit about her. And she says he can have whatever boundaries he wants, but he's flip-flopping all over the place. He's insecure as fuck and he's punching above his weight. And I was like, oof, yes.
No lies detected.
No, she nailed it. And that's exactly what you said last week. You said you think it's all insecurity based, Jesse.
100.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good working theory. That's a good working
Doofus.
theory.
Such a doofus.
Full
Oh my
doofus,
God.
dude. Sophomore slump. Is it his sophomore year or is it his third year?
No, second.
It is. Okay, yeah.
'cause- Yeah. If
Yeah,
he'd
he
been
and
there on
Wes
time
shit
last
the
year. he
bed.
would- So we see Wes sitting alone in his room looking at his phone, and we get a confessional from him revealing something that I had no idea about. Last year at this time, before the last weekend of the summer house, his college friend passed away. And West is pretty straightforward, saying like he doesn't know how to have feelings. And Ciara was there to comfort him last year, like in the immediate aftermath. But at the 1 year mark, he seems to really be struggling with like grief and what that means and what to do with it. And he needs support. He needs professional support, in my opinion. That's a shocking and scarring loss. And to just like make mukbang videos for TikTok isn't going to fucking soothe that wound, sir. So
It's working for him now, though. It's still something. I know it's not working, and you know it's not working, but he's still, at least up until, at least he's talking about it
yeah, no, it's
during
true.
these confessionals and at this dinner that we're about to see.
And he said in that confessional, he's like, it's a really good quality to have, being able to process and feel your feelings. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So at least he's
Yeah.
identified the problem. If he ever wants to deal with it, that's the next step. But at least he has some clarity on like what's causing him like agita in this moment.
And then we're all getting ready for 2 dueling dinners. Like, what's up with the dueling dinners? Why are there 2 separate dinners? Did I miss something? Or is it just...
I think they said they couldn't get a reservation for everyone, but I actually liked it because it gave everybody, it separated the people who normally like pair off.
Yeah, that's true.
So Jesse could talk about Lexi and
Kyle could have a break from Amanda, or Amanda could have a break from Kyle.
and Lindsay and Carl could be separated and not just be like, hello, because the meals are a little stilted with everyone sort of being protective of around their exes or whatever partners.
True.
So we start off at Catch with Kyle, Lindsay, Paige, and Jesse. And Kyle thinks it would be hilarious to ask for an American cheese stuffed olive. And Paige admits that she loves a Kraft single and a grilled cheese, and I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, it's oil, of course.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier to melt.
Yeah, get it together, Craig and Jesse, who apparently both poo-poo such a thing, but they're stupid. There's nothing better than like white bread and a Kraft single with like loads of butter. They don't know how much they love it. That's the grilled cheese that they get at whenever they order it, and they don't know how much they love it. Anyways, we find out that Craig was in town for just 24 hours and he posted cat content with Paige's cat. And that is all we hear about Craig in this episode. Well, that's not true. There's one very poignant line later in the episode, but that's where we first are reminded that they're a couple. And then you take it. You go to Oakland, baby. That's your home, sweet home.
Then we have Amanda, Ciara, Wes, Carl, and Lexi at Oakland's. I had to do a double take. I was like, oh, yeah, it is called Oakland's. Okay. Wes kind of prods Amanda to like cheer on Kyle's sperm news. And we see the confessional from Amanda saying this is the first time that she's felt like herself in years. Pregnancy is not for now. She wants to be hot and happy for the time being. And I celebrate this metaphorical cosmic high five, and absolutely. So,
and I love that she has clarity. She's like pregnancy, birth, postpartum, motherhood.
Oh my God.
All of these things will throw off her equilibrium, and she'll be prepared for that if and when she chooses to have children. She really seems like centered and peaceful and happy, and it's lovely to see as someone who's watched all these seasons. It's like, oh, there you are. Oh, how nice. It's so nice to see you. So of course, she would be a great mom if that's in her future, but like it's nice that she's going to give herself this time to enjoy the fruits of her mental health labors.
I think I forget that we're all still coming off of COVID. We're all still coming off of being cooped up in our houses and the bewilderment of it all. I still feel like I haven't recovered just from the anxiety. Yeah, it just hit me because New York especially was just pummeled. It was pummeled.
Well, and she was in like the depths of
Yeah.
her depression.
Yeah.
And she was living with a workaholic, impatient partner.
That's what I'm saying.
Who was like, you're lazy, get up, I do everything, you don't do anything. So someone who doesn't have an understanding of depression being an illness that doesn't allow you to get up and do stuff. Like it literally is a physical hindrance to doing and being who you want to be.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was a dark, to have that depth of depression, and for the person in your space all the time to be rolling their eyes and stomping around and
I'm doing everything.
about-
I'm
Yeah.
doing everything.
Which you are. And like that's a real thing, but it's not because she's sick. It's
Yeah,
not because
exactly.
she's not trying,
Exactly.
So I understand that she wants, it's like being in like heavy surf and trying to breathe, and all of a sudden the ocean is still, and it's like, fuck, I'm gonna float. I'm just gonna fucking float. Don't tell
Yep.
me to get pregnant and bring on the waves. I
Yep,
just want like a
exactly.
summer or two to float.
I've had a hard week. I've had a hard week with just crippling anxiety. And yesterday, I think I looked at my husband and I was like, you embody our wedding vows. You lived them. You didn't just say them in front of a bunch of people. In sickness and in health. My wife is not healthy right now. My wife is feeling sick. My sickness is not a physical ailment. Well, I mean, it manifests in lots of physical ways, but you know what I'm saying. Anxiety it's a mental sickness, illness, issue, whatever we want to call it. And he has taken such good care of me this week. And I have not felt worthy of it at all.
Which is part of the sickness.
Which is part of the sickness. And it doesn't help you get better over like, it's just one more thing you feel anxious about. Like, fuck, I'm a goddamn liability. I'm a what's the word? Appendage. I'm an extra limb. What am I? A dead limb? What am I? Dead weight? I don't know, dude. I'm something. I'm a lot of shit, but I did cook dinner though this week. I did. I made a hot square for my family that fed us for 3 days. So I did do that.
That's a victory. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, I know. And I got the groceries to do it. Oh.
And like, again, diminishing that is part of the illness.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
You wouldn't tell someone with a broken leg to go from broken leg to marathon running.
You're right.
You would tell them to walk. And you walked. That's a fucking celebration.
You're right.
It means you're on your way to the marathon, but like you don't go from cast to start line.
You're
That's
right.
nuts.
You're right.
We're crazy.
My point is that I wonder how much Kyle takes his vows literally. What his understanding of in sickness and in health means.
Well, I don't think he understands the sickness. And that's where your husband has like a true curiosity about you and about your well-being and learning about what it is and what it means and how to live with it while it heals, you know? And I don't think Kyle has any interest in that. But he has his own ism. I think he is a workaholic, you know?
I think he might be another holic too, but
they often go hand in hand.
You're right.
There's often like an ism to bring relief to the workaholism, you know?
Oh, yes.
There's people close in my life who it's not alcoholism, it's anorexia. It's like something to give control and something to count and calories and blah, blah. It's like, you know, there's a whole lot of,
working out.
It's a big, and then we go back to Ketch, and Jesse asks Ciara for advice after she called him a two-faced liar. And he goes, chill, like what happened was not that serious. And I'm like, it was to her. And it was, period. But even if you think she should chill out, it wasn't that serious. It was that serious to her. Do you not care? Like, it's crazy to me. He's so awful.
He's so awful.
And he says he wants to apologize, but like, is she going to accept my apology? It's like, you don't get to ask that. She is owed an apology, and how she receives it should not be your concern. You know you owe her an apology, so give it.
Yeah.
Why be stingy and need your result? Like, that's so childish and immature and lame, and I don't care for it at all.
Not the point of apologies. The point of the apology is if the person is open to hearing it and you come to them, whether or not they accept it, like you can't just like, I'm sorry. And like, I'm saying like how do I explain it? Like if you're given the consent, like, yeah, like we all know they exist in this house together every weekend. They are in the same room. If he was to like, if she was getting a cup of coffee in the morning and he sidled up next to her and said, hey, listen, can we grab a coffee and go outside? I don't see her saying no.
She didn't say no.
You know? Oh, yes, exactly. At the very end, she didn't. She didn't say no. But the point is, Jesse, it's not about whether she's going to accept it. It's about you got to give it regardless of what that outcome's going to be.
And as I learned for the first time in my life when I was 25 in a 12-step room, there's a difference between an apology and an amend.
Yeah.
An apology is words, and what actually matters is that you change your behavior after you say whatever you've said. So even if you say, can I talk to you? I want to apologize, and they say no, you change your behavior anyway. Because if you know what you did wrong and you feel gross about it, then you make your life right and you can attract them back into it. But he just doesn't, he just wants what he wants when he wants it. And he wants everything to be cool and he wants everyone to be chill and he wants to do whatever he wants and suffer no consequences. Like he said to Lexi last week, I don't want to break up because of actions I took. What?
What?
Can't with him.
He's so insane. He's so toxic. He's
And
so
he makes it
toxic. He's
worse.
tall,
Yeah.
fine. He's tall, but like great.
Oh my God, Ramona, you should read the comments. I went on his Instagram and he's a nightmare. He's even more of a nightmare when he's curating his own material. The comments are hilarious. It's like, it's so people see him and he does not see himself. And so he continues to post, but like the people who are commenting are really funny. And
What are they saying?
I mean, basically, he did one where he's like walking down the streets of New York and he's like, I'm going to turn the comments off, guys. I'm good. Some girl just came up to me and said, hey, man, you're getting more hate than you deserve. So I'm going to roll with that and turn the comments off, okay?
Oh, gag
or
me.
not read the comments. And then the comments are like, wow, if you were 5'1", that would have been a real different interaction with that girl. And like, it just is all of this, it's Tom Sandoval 2.0 because, now he's like a singer and thinks he's like a crooner. And like, it's just, and he's nuts. Looking at his social media, I'm like, you're crazy. And also you're a survivor and that's amazing. But like you're unhinged right now. Like you need
Both things can be true.
You need some grounding, sir.
Yes. Good Lord.
And he makes this whole situation worse. Paige says that it may take Ciara some time to be friendly with Jesse again because she's really harmed by how he's behaved. Jesse wants to be friends with her, and Paige says it might take time. And Jesse goes, well, that's what she did to West.
Good
She
Lord.
refused to be friends with him. She did to West. That's what she did. West, we watched it, pursued her. She said, I don't want to sleep with anyone I'm not going to be in a long-term relationship with. He's like, sure, I'll do that. And come on, dude. And Kyle, to his credit, stops Jesse in his tracks and is like, if I can help you out here, bro, don't say that. Ciara was wronged by West very recently and appears to be taking the time she needs to heal and forgive him if and when she can. And basically, he's like, they didn't break up because she's unreasonable. Don't say that, dude.
You're pinning it all on her, and she's the one who felt screwed over. And
Yes.
I fucking loved Kyle for this.
Yeah.
For all of the judgments I have about this man, I really gave him credit for this.
And
I hope obviously it didn't sink in, but like to have it come from Kyle, maybe it could help versus coming from another crazy girl.
I mean, and it's hopeful to hear it from Kyle's mouth and that it was like so reflexive. He heard it and was like, whoa, no, not that dude. And Lindsay said, she basically like applauds his progress in therapy. And Jesse's like, are you in therapy, bro? And Kyle and Amanda have been open about how they're, in couples and individual therapy. And I do think it's working. Like, it is nice to see.
Are they in therapy or do they just have their relationship coach? Because I thought she didn't want to go to therapy with him.
Oh, I don't remember. In some reunion, they talked about it. And I guess I thought they were in therapy. But
Maybe.
however, if she's on medication, she's in some sort of therapy. I don't know psychiatrists that prescribe if you're not coming from or actively in talk therapy. So anyways, Jesse, take notes. Yeah. And then Paige notes that West has been quiet this summer, as has Ciara. And Jesse goes, yeah, it's awkward for him.
God.
And it's like, oh my God, it's awkward for her too. He literally, talk about misogyny. Like if you've ever wanted to know what that lens is, it is Jesse Solomon's lens. That's what she did to West. It's awkward for him. It's like both of them had an experience. And he just absolutely reduces it to West is a victim, I'm a victim. It's really bonkers. It's really
bonkers
unpleasant.
Is the perfect word to use it. To describe it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oy, oy, oy. So after Paige says that about West being quiet, we pivot back to Oakland's, and Lexi asks, she says, West, I saw your Instagram story earlier. How are you doing regarding your grief around your friend? And he says that he hasn't taken the time to feel it. Yesterday was the year anniversary, and weird emotions come up around it, especially because he was so young. And Lexi shares that she understands, like, when her best friend passed away, she was very unwell for a while. And she says that with grief, crying does not have to be a sign of weakness. It can be a strength, translating to something like, now you're divinely covered. And I had to stop myself because obviously I have, the most of my life, I have operated under that crying is a sign of strength, not weakness. Vulnerability makes me strong. Like I've been told that since I was a teenager, and I've reminded myself and my therapist and the 12-step rooms I was in, like everything's affirmed that. And it's pretty much the way most of the people in my life live. So I'm in a bubble of vulnerability is strength. Crying is strength, And so to see people have to be reminded of it, I'm like, wow, that's right. Not everybody, lives by that. Not everyone is anchored in that kind of belief. And
West comes from like the sports world where you
Right.
don't cry, you fucking suck it up and get out there and win,
right.
and like work harder for the next time. Like in that culture, there's not a lot of room for like tenderness or
Yeah.
slowing down or any of that.
In many cultures, and I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that it is a non-negotiable for me,
Yeah.
Anyway.
West like blows right by that lovely sentiment, and he's like, well, I don't, when people aren't getting along, he doesn't like it, and he gets anxious when there's tension. And Ciara looks distraught because like that, I would have taken that as pointed at me as well. Like if you're in the middle of grief and you're saying the only thing that would make you feel better if everyone was nice to you, I would feel bad because I have a right to be upset with you, but I obviously don't want to exacerbate your horrible, devastating grief. So like that was an unpleasant. West is real passive, and I don't care for it.
He's that brand of man that just cannot, like it is like they would rather, I think, be in a burning building than risk feeling uncomfortable or being around God forbid, a woman that is having feelings that are uncomfortable feelings. Like he can't stomach it, and it's exhausting.
Well,
too.
Amanda says that the only emotion he can really access is humor or happiness. And West is defensive, and he's like, well, I broke down crying on Ciara's bed, like in the immediate aftermath. And this was like another missed opportunity too. He could have looked at her and said like, and I can't ever thank you enough for that, Ciara. But he never made eye contact with her. He looked right past her. And just, again, it just felt like he used her. It's like you let her comfort you, but you can't even look at her to say thank you for that. A year later, it's still, it's an impactful moment for me. Like he's just rotten. And I think it's just because he doesn't know how to say it. But at a certain point, it's inexcusable. You're an adult now. You got to learn how to say it, or you lose someone like Ciara, who's never looked more gorgeous walking away from a table.
Oh my God.
The back of that outfit, I was like, oh my God, what a dramatic exit, and also what a gorgeous dress.
Back,
you look amazing.
Front, smoky eyeliner, like all of it. Stunning. She's
jewelry,
just
everything.
Stunning.
She's gorgeous.
I mean, unbelievably
effortlessly
stunning.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely. So, oh God. And it's like, he says he's glad that they asked him about this before he had a beer, or he'd probably cry about it after. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. If for all of these, he and Jesse, like, she's crazy. Oh, she's crazy. She's blah, blah, blah. It's like, just fucking nut up, for Christ's sake. I hate to say it, but like, be a man. Be a man.
Be
cry.
A man and cry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Be a man. Like, have some fucking guts to do the hard thing, which is cry. That's hard. But it doesn't have to be, but if that's hard for you, then just do it. Prove
I
it.
weirdly felt bad for him though, because it does feel like he knows that would help him and he just like cannot get there. But I thought it was extra devastating that the only person he let himself go there with was Ciara and he couldn't even say thank you or look at her or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
He's so disconnected and that's going to come out in other ways.
Mm. Go
And
have that beer. Go make that joke.
right.
Anyway. Yeah.
Go sleep with that girl, go do that line, go, like
Whatever.
there's endless ways to distract yourself
Go make
until
that.
it
Go
comes
make that
to get you.
Instagram story. Right. Right.
And Carl sweetly relates to him that like in his experience, it gets better as time goes on, but they're here for him no matter what. And then we get this heartbreaking confessional from Ciara where she said she held him for hours when he broke down last year when this happened. And basically she's like, West has no problem leaving our friendship for dead, but she's struggling to come to terms with everything that has happened. And I don't blame her.
I don't
didn't know
either.
this adds a new level of complexity to that relationship. That's like, that was a new level of intimacy. And from someone like West, that's West's version of Ciara sleeping with him. It's so vulnerable and so intimate and so reserved for only the most special person. So he gave that to her and then was just like, nah, bye. It must just be so jarring. And she looked, I don't know, it broke my heart. I think she got up and left the table because she needed some time to have her emotion. Because
Good.
her dear friend is in desperate grief, but that's the same person who did something rotten to her and did article after article after article after article driving home how she never meant shit to him. It's just like, I would break down too. I would have needed to go to the bathroom as well. And 100%. I thought she handled it very gracefully.
Yes, I agree. Oh, God, these men. Come on. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, everyone offers hugs to West except for Ciara, and who can blame her? Quite
and
quite
Amanda.
frankly.
I loved Amanda too. She's like, my hugs cost money.
Oh, that's true.
She stood by her friend.
Yes, yes.
And then back home, everyone changes into cozies. And Paige burns her hand on a curling iron that was left plugged in, and everyone goes to bed. And we get a weird moment of Lexi and Jesse in bed. And Jesse sneezes. Like, this man could not, as if he couldn't get grosser on like an emotional level. He now is actually like disgusting. They're like making out and he sneezes and goes, sometimes when I get turned on, I sneeze. But
Gross.
It sounded like a big wet sneeze and they were like under covers. And I'm like, oh my God, that must have been just.
And this is after he's like, I missed you so much and I was so sad. Like, ew. Dude, this is the shit that you're leaving out. This is the shit you're not telling your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You're so unattractive and gross.
He's one of those people who like my sponsor, my first program always told me, she's like, there need to be 5 people on the planet who know everything about you at all times. And Jesse is someone who no one knows everything about him. He would have told nobody about 37 minutes getting his toe sucked. Imral knows that, but nobody else does. Lexi's the only one who knows how much he loves her and blah, blah, blah. But then he tells everyone else that Lexi's psycho and he never wanted to introduce her to her parents. So he's one of those people who's like, who the fuck are you actually? Who are you? Which one of those personalities belongs to reality? Because you're all over the place. He makes me so itchy. I don't like him.
Me either. Not at all. Not at all. Kyle does his routine. You know, he always likes to come home after he's drunk and like binge on whatever's on the counter. So he binges on a muffin and then does his pitiful I love you to Amanda 2-step before he, gets in bed himself. You can set your fucking clock to this man. And Paige grabs a hunk of frozen chicken out of the freezer to like soothe her hand on. Like, ma'am, there were no peas. There wasn't like a bag of like acai smoothie mix, raw chicken, not even in a plastic bag. Oh, so grossed out. Poultry grosses me out so much.
It must have been a real bad burn.
Yeah.
She just needed relief.
I know, but damn. So the next morning, Amanda, Paige, and Ciara are all gathered in Ciara's bed, and Amanda tells them that she thought that the both of them were mad at her last week, and I just wrote down depression, rejection sensitivity. Like, I can relate. Oh my God, my friends hate me. They don't, but I feel like they do. It's insane. Shit. Anyway, so Amanda asks her friend, asks Ciara if she got up from the table because she had to pee, or was it awkward listening to West? And she said both. But she was also giving West space to process his man feelings. So that's my commentary. Anyway.
But I think she needed privacy to have her
100%.
feelings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amanda reiterates that West can't express emotions other than happiness. And Ciara tells them again that he came over and cried with her for hours at this time last year. That's how deep they were in their relationship. And it must be so confusing to be in the same space and be like, what the fuck happened? And Paige asks Ciara if she can ever see herself being friends with West again. And Ciara doesn't know. It would be hard to envision being close to him. And then we go, it's a pool day today. And then Gabby's going to come later to co-host a beach dinner with Lexi. Then we're out at the pool, and Kyle, Jesse, West, and Paige are gathered, and they're talking. And West asks Jesse if it's fully squashed with Lexi. And Kyle asks how they went from like the deepest of dark deep ends last weekend to business as usual, where they find themselves now. And Jesse, in like the quintessential refrain, goes, "It was her." And he said she listed why, I'm the worst. And then later in the week, she called to ask if they'd get back together. And somebody said, like, is that what she said? And he was like, that was the gist of it. And I was like, okay, so I don't believe anything you're saying. I don't know what's true. He seems in this conversation, it feels like he unenthusiastically took her up on her offer to get back together. And again, we just watched them in bed last night. I was miserable. I'm so sad. I missed you. And now he's like, yeah. And then she called me and I was like, okay, I guess we're back on. It's like, you're such a shit. And then he reports that he had a 3-hour talk sesh with Lexi and her sister and her mom to talk through it all.
That is some enmeshment, codependent, lack of boundary having. Well, I mean, again, because this is week 6 of their quasi relationship, week 5.5 since they had that week where it was like, are we on? Are we off? Are we on? Are we off? Like, oh my God, it is so codependent and just no boundaries. I don't know. Am I missing something?
I mean, that's what it felt like me at first glance, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? If someone did this to my niece, I would want to sit down and be like, you've known each other for 5 weeks. Why has she cried, thought she was getting married, met your parents, been told it was a mistake to meet your parents? Every day you've been together, there's been a new high or a new low. What are you doing? Do you want to be with her or not? Can you get clear on that? If someone I loved was on that roller coaster, I would be like, what is this shit? You can do whatever you want, but I would want to talk to the person too and be like, can I support you in stabilizing here? Or is this how you are in a relationship? Just let me the fuck know. But you're right. That's me. And then I would not also go to a club with my niece and her boyfriend till 4 a.m. So that's where we differ. I would go to bed and let them go live their lives. And then Lexi's mom and sister both seem to go out partying, which is...
You wouldn't want to see your niece getting ground on by her boyfriend after having that conversation?
Not even that. They can do whatever they want, wherever they want. I just want to go to bed. I'm old. I prefer fucking sleep to vodka sodas at this stage of life. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yes.
I lived that part of my life. I don't need to do that anymore. I don't know. It was that. So I don't know what the answer is. I just think Jesse, everyone is so quick to be like, Lexi's crazy. Her family's nuts. And it's like, yes, but this whole situation has been insane. She was gone for 1 weekend and heard that you were flirting with Ciara and had to be told by someone else that you got your toe sucked in a threesome.
He doesn't even have a pocket of accountability. I have suitcases of accountability. You know what I mean? If I acted like him, I'd have a fucking Pods shipping container full of accountability behind me. He doesn't even have the little teeny tiny pocket of his jeans full of accountability. Like, it's just tumbleweeds flowing through where there should be accountability. I'm sorry. You get it.
No, and he's just going moment to moment doing what feels good to him in the moment. He does nothing challenging. He tells her he loves her, and then it's easier to like not get into that with the cool kids by the pool. So he's like, whatever. It's just all, and like, it's not that serious, Ciara. It's like,
Oh
why
my
why
God.
can't she just chill?
Oh, he's so gross.
He's really gross.
He's so gross.
Anyways, everyone is weirded out by the 3-hour therapy session with the family.
So weird
West
out.
hates it and thinks it's weird. And Kyle, actually, again, Kyle with some real clarity here is like, well, that's the situation. If you date Lexi, you date her family. And he's right, because that, again, puts the onus back on Jesse. If you want to date this girl, that's how you do it. And if you don't want to date the sister and mom, then don't date Lexi.
You know what?
Get out.
That's a really good point. That's very fair. You're right. You're right.
She
You're
makes
right.
no secret of it. She's not sneaking them in. They live with her. They do her whole job is intertwined with it. Like, it wasn't like a surprise attack of mom and sister. It's like Lexi comes with mom and sister. So, and they party. It's so weird to me.
So Gabby arrives and everyone starts getting ready to go have their beach early dinner, late lunch event, whatever, doesn't matter. In a confessional, Wes says that he says that he's reeling himself from his own stuff with Ciara. And he feels like that because of that, it gives him the right to give Jesse advice. And he has to admit that he's excited that they're insane because it makes him feel like he's the less crazy one. I can understand that. He's like a millimeter behind where Jesse is, but I can empathize with, I can see where he's coming from is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think in this moment in time, like he's been enemy of the state since episode 1, but Jesse's finally edged him out a little in this episode. And I think he's just like catching a breath and he's like, this is fine.
Totally.
And that little confessional is precipitated by Jesse and Lexi like making out in the bedroom.
Yeah, I forgot
and
that
Wes
part.
does a full take to the cameras going like, what the fuck is this?
I
Like
mean-
everybody's just like, you guys were literally screaming at each other. It's over in the kitchen in front of everyone last weekend. And now we're all just supposed to be on board with you being like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Like, I don't blame him. It is a little nuts. And then Lindsay, Gabby, and Lexi head off to the beach, and Amanda, Paige, and Jesse have a chat in Amanda's room. And Jesse's feeling good about Lexi and now just needs to feel good about Ciara. Oh my God. As opposed to like, how about you need to make her feel better?
My
Why is it
God.
you? It's always you.
He's missing, what do the young people say? Like, you're missing the plot. You've strayed from the plot. You've veered
Lost
from
the plot?
Lost the plot. My God, thank you. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Yes, yes, he has lost the plot. It's not about making yourself feel better, you jackass. It's about making things right with your friend. He only wants to do that so that he's not uncomfortable anymore. Ew! Vagina, self-sealing at his behavior. Not okay. Not hot. Not even a little bit. Ew!
I'm telling you, go watch his Instagram. You will like
Ew!
every orifice on your body will seal up. It's amazing.
He's making Kyle more appealing. He's making Kyle seem more appealing.
Well,
to
Kyle
me.
in this episode is actually really like has some really sober thinking. I appreciated him.
Okay.
And
All right.
Amanda asks if she can give Jesse some advice, and Jesse, like an idiot, hesitates. And Paige is like, yeah, he could use it. And so like,
God, fool.
and Amanda simply says like, no jokes, Jesse. And he claims that he regrets making the comment about trying to make Ciara feel better by saying he would have been with her if he'd arrived first. He's like, stupid comment. And then Amanda says, if that was a one-off joke, then why did you also repeat it to Craig and me? And he's like, I didn't do that. No way. Roll tape of Jesse doing exactly that. And Amanda says that Craig and Amanda were certain certain that Ciara and Jesse were going to hook up that night. That's how overt their flirtation was.
As were the viewers.
And Paige says, exactly. And Paige says that Craig was sure they'd be dating by the end of the summer. Like, that's how much chemistry they were diving into at that party. That's how intimate he was being with Ciara. And Jesse says, do you think Ciara thought that at all? And Paige and Amanda go, no.
And they laugh. They're like, sir, you're sadly mistaken. Yes.
Well, and it also just shows how he doesn't know Ciara at all. You would never have to ask that question if you'd paid attention to any conversation you'd had with her. And then Amanda just suggests that Jesse have a transparent conversation with Ciara. And then we have a weird cut to West spraying his clothes with Febreze that made me gag. He was wearing clothes, smelling them, and then he like put Febreze all over them. And I was like, oh, sir. Because you know that smell of like musty T-shirt with Febreze on it. That is college. That is college, period.
I took Leo to Taekwondo this afternoon, and I am very sensitive to smells. I've been like this my whole life. Don't know. Anyway, whatever. I'm like a bloodhound. A man sat next to me, and his clothes smelled dirty, and he smelled sweaty, and I had to get up and move. And Leo looked at me like, what the fuck? And I was like, when we left, I was like, sorry, I can't sit next to people that stink, and I can't sit next to people wearing stinky clothes. There's stinky clothes, and then there are like, please, you smell like mildew. I don't want to smell. Just do your laundry, men. Do your laundry. That's all I'm asking. Do your laundry. Even if you don't take a shower, throw on a clean T-shirt. But God, don't spray yourself with Febreze. Just do the laundry. I've ranted about this for way too long. I apologize. Moving on.
I mean, maybe it was like a wrinkle releaser or something, but I was not encouraged by that moment. It just seemed gross.
Vile, repugnant.
Then we're at the beach and we reflect briefly on how 2 years ago, Lindsay and Carl were getting engaged. And they show a flashback to Carl being like, I'm so nervous, my heart is racing, which just reminded me, if you recall, he was late coming out that weekend because he had a whole panic attack and went to the hospital.
I forgot.
Because his body was like, do not enter this engagement. And he was like, I will do this. He had a whole panic attack and went to the emergency room and was admitted over fucking night and was still like, I got to do this.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah, it was doomed. And Lexi reports to Lindsay that Carl isn't talking to anyone romantically, but Lindsay gossips, she heard from Ciara that he has hooked up, but she doesn't believe it. And she weirdly proudly says, he didn't even hook up with me and we were engaged. And I was like, that's not something to broadcast in like a gotcha way. That's kind of sad. And
I would be embarrassed. I would be mortified. But
if I'm engaged and my partner isn't into that would be, I would not.
No, I would. I mean, like if I was acting like Lindsay and I was on camera for the rest of my life, for the rest of posterity, in perpetuity, like I'd be straight up. I'd be like slipping as much money as I could to the editors. Like, please, God, take that out. I swear to God,
take
please,
out me
I'll do
cackling,
anything.
Saying receipts and touching my pregnant belly.
Ew,
is that so what gnarly. You want? You want to see him
so
get
gnarly,
some random
dude.
Girl pregnant? Like, what is your deal, dude? She's not funny. I don't care for her.
Oh my God.
Then everyone arrives and the boys and the girls sit lightly separately, but not far enough apart. So the girls are listening into the boys' conversation where Kyle reports that his sperm is dope. And Amanda busts in and, basically it winds up with her assuring Kyle that she's happy for him, that he has healthy sperm. And this is where we cut to Paige, who says that Kyle is a lot like Craig in that he needs constant assurance and praise. And Kyle, in his confessional, uses the same language that Craig has used with Paige, saying, I want to feel like you're invested in our future and that we're growing and changing together. That's what Craig said to Paige. She's getting ready to go on her tour and her career's blowing up. And he's like, well, I just want to make sure we're in this together and that you don't forget about me. It's like, ugh, both those guys are on a
They're so needy.
tough path.
And there is nothing wrong with needing reassurance. I'm just saying that, like, they're, how do I say this without sounding like an utter dick? That kind of neediness it feels more, it feels man-baby pathological to me. It doesn't feel, like, healthy. Do you know what I'm saying?
From Craig, I feel like it's 100% controlling. Where he's
Yeah.
like, you can do what you want, but I want to make sure that you are going to prioritize babies when I decide we have them.
Ew.
And Kyle, I feel like with him, in this situation, it just feels more like a misguided, this is not the thing that you should ask for a parade. You had the choice of a call or an email. Nothing is the matter, okay? So Amanda was not invested because there was no concern. Nothing was real in this moment. You're not actively trying to have children. So, and I thought it was sweet of her to go sit on his lap and be like, I am excited for you. This is all good news. If there had been a problem, I would have been right by your side. You know that. And I think he's just, he's just,
A man baby.
a little bit.
I apologize.
But I'm a lady baby, so I get it.
You're
I
not
need
a lady
lots of-
baby.
I am. I need lots of support and encouragement. I'm Carl. Like I remember in his conversations with Lindsay, like, I need a hug. I need
I know, but like
I need
that's
encouragement.
it's different though.
I
Because-
can see myself having an outsized reaction to something that doesn't deserve it. Like sometimes I just get in the headspace where I'm like, I want support right now. And so anything that comes up, I can be like, I parallel parked perfectly on one try and you didn't say anything. I left you the perfect length from the curb and we were just going to get out of the car. Like I didn't do anything. Like I didn't try for this relationship today. That's what we're doing. Like I can really be that person. So like I can see if I was in that mood, I can understand where Kyle's coming from.
But it feels like with Carl and Craig that's like their baseline in their
Carl?
relationships. I'm sorry.
Kyle.
Craig and Kyle. Yes.
Right.
It feels
Maybe
like
so, yes.
that's what their baselines are. Like that behavior is pretty woven into their personalities at this point. And that's why I'm saying that they're man babies.
Yeah.
Like moments is one thing. This is consistent from Kyle.
True. And at least I have perspective so that 20
That's-
minutes later in the restaurant, I would be like, I'm sorry for my parallel parking outburst. I am having a day where I'm feeling insecure and I
Yes, that's
just wanted
why,
to know that you noticed that I'm trying.
That's why you're different. That's why I was not accepting what you were saying as being the same as them. You're a lady baby. I was all,
I can be,
moments.
but I can
lady baby
acknowledge
moments,
it.
fine.
Yeah.
But like not like, again, it seems like they're pretty committed
a bit
to
of a
this.
plague. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
And then I did get a legitimate laugh in this next little moment where Kyle is changing and West is holding two umbrellas and the sun is catching the shadows just perfectly. So it does look like a full-on anal moment. And I'm a child. And so I laughed very hard. I appreciated the editors for leaving a lot of it in so I could really get a good laugh. And it was great. And that was it. And
I'm
then
glad for you.
Yes, I know. I figured me and like the, whatever, like 20-year-old boyfriends are watching this show with their girlfriends. So it's like, that's for us. Because then we close out with the serious stuff of Jesse asked to talk to Ciara alone. And off they go.
Yep.
He apologizes for saying he was trying to make her feel better. And Ciara, I just love her. I love her when she's in this space of just like, I'm not open to this. She's like, I don't need your pity. I don't nurture friendships with that kind of dynamic. And it basically just added insult to injury when you did the don't touch me bullshit. And he's like, it was a joke in the moment. And Ciara fucking nails it. This is what I've been trying to say for weeks. She goes, usually when it's a joke, people laugh. You weren't laughing, and I definitely was not laughing. And she goes, you're the one sending mixed signals, playing both sides of the coin with me and Lexi. And Jesse's like, oh, what should I have done? Say like, hey, it's really upsetting Lexi that we're so close. Should we take a step back? And she's like, yes. And he's like, okay. It's like, you do. And that really made me sick because I was like, oh, you do know what to do, Jesse. You do know the right thing to do. And like you said, he's just too lazy to take a breath and like try to be a man and do right by a human being who is his friend. And like she said, call me, text me, pull me aside and have a conversation. But at a cancer event, to shrug me off and shame me like I'm some whore pouring myself all over you at like the Cancer Society, fuck off.
And she said, yes, you could have texted, you could have called. I would have understood. She said that. I'd say that 9 times out of 10, when you come to somebody that you care about, that you have a friendship with, someone's going to understand if you come to them and you're honest. It's a very typical reaction to be understanding in a friendship. You know what I mean?
Even if they don't like it, it's like that's always my thing. When I have something to say to someone and they come at me with like anger or whatever, I'm like, you don't have to agree with me, but can you understand? And she, like you said, she explicitly said it. Had you come to me with any level of respect, I would understand. Because she said, I'm not trying to make Lexi feel uncomfortable. You know, if that's the result of us behaving how we behave, then obviously I would have backed off.
Bruh.
Right.
What a jerk. What a jerk. Like I try to like refrain from using just, low barrel words like jerk or an idiot and whatever. But he's just like he's a jerk. He's a jerk.
And he's learned nothing.
Nothing. 0.0 has this man learned.
And having looked at his social media, I'm just like, wow, you've learned less than nothing.
Oh, God.
You're taking some reality fan on the street who came up to you. And by the way, most of the comments on that post where he's like, some girl just came up to me and said, I'm taking too much hate. Most of the comments were like, never happened. That never happened. She doesn't exist. You're full of shit. Give me a fucking break. Go sing some more, grandpa. Like, it's just everybody's having none of him.
I mean, I would log off. Like, log off.
You would think, but that's the thing is he loves any kind of attention because he's like, I'm not going to read the comments on this. Yes, you fucking are because you left them turned on.
Dude, seriously.
So you want to soak up the hate and make yourself a victim by it. Because of course, every 100 comments or so, there's one that's like, we love you, Jesse, keep going. And
those are so embarrassing. Those are
the ones that he'll DM back and be like, hey, we're partying at the box tonight. Why don't you come through?
Ew.
Oh, God, he's so gross.
He's so gross.
And I love Ciara for saying, I'm just over. She's like, I'm just over you. Like, I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm over you. And she doesn't say it, but basically she's over West as well. And she's like, I have the patience for one more week. And that's just enough to get me through the summer. And Jesse looks all hurt because, again, he's immature. And he thinks that if you offer an apology, you should get forgiveness immediately. And like, that's not how it works as an adult. You have to tolerate the discomfort of the person who you've harmed while they take time to heal and decide whether or not they're going to forgive you. Sorry.
Idiot. Oh, I can't wait, though. I can't wait for the next episode. Like, I hate having to wait. It sucks.
I know.
The show is so good.
It is so
good. I love it.
Friend,
what else did you watch this week?
I didn't watch a lot this week. I watched Atlanta, which I'm really enjoying. And you know what I watched is the first, I'm 1 or 2 behind, I don't know. The first 2 episodes of The Rehearsal, the new Nathan Fielder show on HBO.
Yeah,
I mean, the second
forgetting.
season of that show. He's brilliant. I don't know how the man conceives of these shows. It's some of like the most thorough, thoughtful writing I've ever borne witness to in my life. I am fascinated by it. And it has some darkness to it, so it's not like, but it's fascinating and I love it. So those were the most impactful things I watched this week. How about you? What did you watch?
I watched Survival of the Thickest, season 2 of Survival of the Thickest. I've got a couple episodes left. Highly recommend. It's on Netflix. It stars Michelle Buteau, and she's hilarious and stunning, and the sets and the costumes and the stories are just like, it's so good. Love that show.
Hmm.
I'm not into this season at all. I'm sunk cost fallacy, man. Like I've loved every season. I understand it's campy and terrible, but I also like love it so much. So I'm going to shoulder through, but I'm not I think I'm like 2 episodes in, maybe 3, and I'm thumbs down. Love Hotel, obviously.
Oh God, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting to watch
Well,
that.
good. Now you can dial it up and
Yeah.
watch it at your leisure. Series finale of Gemstones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't
Damn
watched
it.
it yet. I told my friend Edie, who's on the show, I told her, I'm like, it's like, I did this with Friday Night Lights. I couldn't watch the last episode because I didn't want it to be over. And that ended like over 10 years ago. And I still haven't watched the last episode. And I'm too greedy for comedy to like not ever watch the last episode. But I couldn't do it on Sunday. I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not quite ready.
I wasn't either. We did
Yeah.
it. I think we watched it uh 2 nights ago. Yeah. Was not ready. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I was in such an anxious state, and I was like, I can't be in this state to watch this show.
Yeah.
It's so, it's, I'm so sad it's over. I fucking cried, dude. I cried at the series finale. I keep thinking, I keep hoping if I run into Edie, like, think I've met her once or twice when I've been with you. She wouldn't know me from a stranger on the street, but like, I would grab her by the shoulders if she let me. And I would just like, I would go off on how Gemstones is fucking chef's kiss, no notes. Every goddamn line is like it's worth everything. Anyway, SNL, and then this is going to lead into my antidepressant as well. Love is Blind season 8.
Is that the most recent season?
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
one that you talked about a couple of months ago. I know I'm late to it. Like I was watching season 7 when you were watching season 8. But you're right. This is the best season besides season 1. This is the best season of all time. There's like very little wannabe influencer shit. People are talking about real life stuff. My God. And I loved it. And people are like, not compromising. Yeah, I'm so glad. Like this show, I'm glad I saved it. I needed it this week. Reality TV, it nurtured me. It helped me navigate hours of my anxiety that I could not. I didn't know what to do with myself. And so my antidepressant this week is I subscribe to the Reality Gaze podcast, their Patreon, and they recap all the Love is Blind, and they recapped season 8. And I love their takes. They're hilarious. Like, I'll be listening to it while I fall asleep, and I'm just trying not to like laugh in like, I try not to wake up Josh, but their voices are comforting. Their takes are comforting. Reality TV and their podcast, antidepressant, 100%.
Love it.
Me too. How
Love
about
it.
you? What was your antidepressant?
My antidepressant this week was the Groundlings, which is the sketch and improv theater out here. I went to go see Edie in a show on Monday night there. It's the show called One, where you get one suggestion from the audience and one improviser improvises for 1 hour without any direction. And it was fucking phenomenal. It was like the most, and Edie is like, she's having such a moment right now. She's in like top shape, improv shape. And like, it was spectacular. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen. And just like so amazing. It was amazing. An hour straight, just improvising all on her own, like a one-person show based on this suggestion that the audience gave her. It was amazing. And then I did a show there last night. It's just such a joy. Like the audiences are always full. They're always there because they want to laugh. They're not there. Like a lot of stand-up audiences come with their arms crossed and are like, let's see what you got. But people come into that theater just like, let's go. Let's see. Let's have a good time. And it was such a good time. And there was a couple people I'd never worked with before in the show. And I was so like, I was dying laughing like I got a show out of it too, watching them, like just watching people be like free and creative and funny, just so much laughing. Like it was a really good week for lots of laughs, and I needed them. So it felt great. And I
Margie,
appreciate the Groundlings for being like a little haven for that, you know?
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's what I miss about being there. I miss
Yeah.
being able to just, you're like, oh, I'm doing a show. And I would go and I would fucking just, God, I just loved watching you do shows there, going to shows with you there.
It's
Loved
so
it.
fun.
Oh,
The
man.
space is great, like the live band, like there's
So
just that
great.
place is really it's a it's 50 years old now, but it's like
Wow.
it was so well conceived by those drunk jokesters, those drunk clowns who put it together in the 70s. Like it's amazing. So I got to be there a bunch this week and see people I love there. I ran into like old friends at Edie's show, and it's like a real community, you know. It's a good spot in LA. So for people who haven't been, go check out an improv show there. That's what they do best, and they're great.
I mean, top tier, platinum, top shelf. The Gemstones, the Righteous Gemstones, the majority of that is improv, isn't it?
No, because Edie was a writer on that show too. So obviously they do like improvised takes and stuff, but there's a full functional writer's room, and a lot of it is, super ultra scripted. And then obviously everyone Danny McBride cast has improv training. So it's a loose set. And that's another thing I loved about that show is just knowing what a positive experience it was. Everyone on that cast like legitimately loves and respects each other. They actually really truly make each other laugh. They would do anything to make their scene partners look great, you know? There's nothing selfish about that show, which is like pretty remarkable in entertainment and in comedy. It's like it's really I often wonder if I'm biased about that show because I I like watching it because I know that's true, you know? It makes me feel so cozy. Like these people like legitimately love doing this stupid shit together, and that makes it even funnier.
I've heard nothing but great things about how generous Danny McBride is as a creative and as just a person in general. Like my cousin and I are constantly talking about how much we love him. You can tell they have so much respect for each other, and that you can just like the fun they're having with the lines, they're just luxuriating, and it's oozing, and there's no ego. It's just freaking a brilliant, brilliant show. I'm so
So
grateful that they
good.
made it. So wild. Like what? Anyway,
Wild is the word.
yeah.
And Danny McBride is like such a good person that show's shot in North Carolina for the last like 4 years or whatever. And he feels he feels such a sense of responsibility to the people who he employed on that set that he's creating a whole new show with Edie that will also take place and shoot there. Should it get picked up, which it should get picked up. But that's how much all of it meant to him is he's like, oh, these people deserve continued employment. So I'm going to focus my next project on with that as the priority. I mean, how great.
I mean,
For all the turds that
yes.
circulate in this industry, there are some real fucking gems, pardon the pun, but there really fucking are. And
Mm,
he's one of them.
God, I love it. I love it so much. Well, I didn't know this was going to turn into a Righteous Gemstones appreciation
I know,
podcast, but
right?
here we are, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm happy to sing their praises. Oh, bless. Anyway, if you know, you know. Um, everyone, thank you. Margie, again, I feel so much lighter and better after doing this with you.
Yes.
Ah,
Thank you. Bravo for giving us somewhere to
honestly,
peacefully zip up the part of our brains that are like rude and
just so
overactive
abusive.
and just let
Such,
us live it in the Hamptons for an hour or
yes.
so. It's real
Thank
nice.
whatever brought me and you to being friends. And now we're doing this. And
Mhm.
I am just like, my heart feels so much more peace than it did when we sat down.
Yay, same.
Mm,
Always.
damn. Anyway, everyone, I wish you all nothing but deep, profound peace in your hearts. Get it where you can. If you want to email me, I'll answer. We'll answer your emails if you want to talk about, what's going on and how can you get deep, profound peace. I'll just validate whatever you're fucking going through. You can reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. You're invited to find us on social media, and I will try to post more on social media. Right now, you can find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. That's all I got, dude. Don't sleep on the show notes. Margie writes real funny stuff. If you can read the show notes on your podcast platform of choice. Oh, and while you're there reading the show notes, you could hit 5 stars and maybe leave a review. If you we're always appreciative of your time to do that. Oh my God, no one. I'm done.
Yes,
I'm done.
So everybody, take very good care of yourselves, and we will talk more Summer House next week.
Yay! All right. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.